How could this film go wrong? Some of you are thinking. Or, perhaps, this looks too good to be true, so I have to second guess myself from the idea that it is a major classic. Something has to go wrong. Wolf Gremm's Kamikaze 1989, the Rainer Werner Fassbinder starring cyberpunk film. If you're strict about what you want to consider a classic, this one might not make the cut, though if you like films for their own sake, and appreciate your own immediate visceral reaction, first and foremost, Kamikaze 1989 is one of the most watchable, likable, memorable films of all time, at least upon my own warped psychology. When I first saw it back in 2017 or 18 or so, I was convinced that it was now one of my 5 favourite films of all time, which Noel Oakeshott was a bit sceptical of. He thought I must be more critical and assess films for how they are, and not what we want them to be. But if 70% of Kamikaze 1989 is done right, a 30%, which may feel underwhelming by comparison, whatever that might be, is irrelevant and still makes it more stirring, exciting, and rewatchable than most, an incredibly vast majority of, films that I've ever seen. I just before discussed Tron and my favourite films of 1982, which Kamikaze 1989 not only belongs near the top of that list, but at the top, next to the exalted features Blade Runner and The Thing. Wolf Gremm, the director of this feature, was responsible in the same year of this film's release for directing 2 documentaries about Fassbinder, who some of you may know would die that very year. The 2 documentaries are Rainer Werner Fassbinder, Letzter Arbeiten, and The Wizard of Babylon, which is also credited to Dieter Schiedor and Frank Riplow as directors. The latter features an interview with Fassbinder conducted 10 hours before his death. According to this one list/collection I am looking at, the great cyberpunk films of the 20th century include, this is not everything in the list, but everything I consider to be a classic feature to some extent or another: Colossus the Forbin Project, THX 1138, Westworld, World on a Wire, The Terminal Man, Scanners, Escape from New York, Liquid Sky, Kamikaze 1989, Burst City, Tron, Blade Runner, Overdrawn at the Memory Bank, Brainstorm, Videodrome, The Terminator, Megazone 23, Max Headroom 20 Minutes into the Future, Brazil, Hands of Steel, Megazone 23 2, The Running Man, a fun watch, though very far from a perfect film, quite obviously, Neo Tokyo, Robocop, Akira, Crime Zone in its own B-movie, garage cinema way, Gunhead, for similar face value enjoyable reasons also, Megazone 23 free, Tetsuo the Iron Man, Robocop 2, maybe Hardware, maybe Megaville, maybe, the documentary work Cyberpunk directed by Marianne Trench, AD Police Files, Cyber City Oido 808, Total Recall 964 Pinocchio, Wax or the Discovery of Television Among the Bees, to some degree Until the End of the World by Vendors, Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I don't mind watching this stupid, heavily flawed Lawnmower Man flick, as with other 90s, usually derided movies such as Free Jack, Nemesis, Prototype, Project Shadow Chaser, A Fortress by the great Stuart Gordon. Then there's the anime work, download Devil's Circuit, the disappointing though still worth viewing Tetsuo 2 Body Hammer, the stupid though occasionally enjoyable joke that was Demolition Man, Brain Scan from director John Flynn, Genocyber, one of the greatest ruthless bloody anime works of all time, maybe just maybe Crystal Fortune Run, Strange Days, City of Lost Children, too many screaming close-ups, but gorgeous art design certainly, Ghost in the Shell, 12 Monkeys, Rubber's Lover, Full Metal Yakuza by Takashi Miike, New Rose Hotel from Abel Ferrara, maybe Miike's Andromeda, Pi, Existence, The Matrix, and not Dark City, which is overrated. Actually, Drek, that no one would give much thought to if The Matrix didn't exist, was enormously successful and inspired bored contrarian hacks. That's my take on Kamikaze 1989 and 20th century cyberpunk feature films. We'll see you all some other time in the near future.